Hi, everybody. Welcome to section 4.1, extend. It's kind of an adding on to section 4.1, actually adding on to all the sections. We need to talk about families of graphs, and this is going to be pretty short and sweet because a lot of this is going to be stuff that we do in class, and we can pull out the graphing calculators to work on these. So a family of graphs are graphs that have at least one common characteristic. There are two things that we look at. So all these families either have the same slope. So I have a bunch of graphs that all have the same slope. That makes them a family. Or I have a bunch of graphs that have the same y-intercept, or b, and that makes them a family. That's what we look at right at the beginning with our linear equations. So we're either looking at slope or y-intercepts. If they share that, like if I have three graphs together and all three of those graphs have the same y-intercept, then I can say these guys are a family because they have the same y-intercept. The y-intercept is equal to whatever it might be. The parent graph we call the most basic graph in a family. The parent graph for a linear equation is y equals x. So in the equation y equals x, the slope is 1 and the y-intercept is 0. Now if we're going to look at a family, we're going to compare other equations to that one and see what happens. And we also call y equals x, our most basic graph, our parent graph, the identity function. So just some background information about families of graphs so that we can do a little bit of graphing. If you notice on the notes, I've got some graphing calculator tips, and we'll talk about those in class. Actually, let's talk about them right now, and then we can just get going in class. So graphing calculator tips. I encourage everybody to clear the memory at the beginning because you don't know what the last person was putting in. It might mess up yours. So it's the second button, the plus button, the 7, the 1, the 2. It is 5 presses of the buttons. Second, plus, 7, 1, 2. To exit a screen, it might not make sense to you right now. You hit second and mode. That will always get you back to the home screen. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure what this screen is doing right now, just hit second mode and you'll be back at a blank screen. We will need to be entering a variable x. There is a little button that looks like this. It's got an x, a t, this Easter egg, and an n on it. That's a variable, and that will put an x in the equation or in the graph that you're trying to graph. And to enter an equation to actually do the graphing, you look for the button. It's in the upper left corner, and it's got y equals, and that will take you in. And we'll work on those together and talk about them. So this Extend 4.1 section is going to be doing some graphs, looking to see if they are a family and explaining. So you're going to have to graph, you're going to have to see the relationship and explain if they are or are not a family. So that's it for section 4.1 extension. We don't have a whole lot to say, but I wanted to make sure that you got that much done. All right, see you next time.